anybody out there? Is
Woohoo!
anybody out there? Oh, that was the backup singers. Yeah,
If you're
it was a
tuning
great
in,
event.
we are listening to Kim sing Ricky Martin to see if anyone's out there. I hope someone will join us because this is going to be a great conversation. And
Yes.
I haven't put out a podcast for a while, and you came into my mind, and I think it was divine intervention because your story is so inspiring, and what you're creating out of Exeter is just so, it's just so good for the heart and the community. So I'm so happy you're here. So,
Well,
yes.
thank you, Mel. And I'm happy I'm here too because, this is my very first live podcast. And I was wondering, does it hurt to do a podcast? But nothing's hurting me. So I think we're going to be good to go. And I've got a lot to say about Spirit Rise too. And I just hope
Good.
that the people that listen in, whether it's live or whether they come in later, do sit and listen and just connect in to see what we're doing out here at Exeter at Spirit Rise, Tamar Valley. We do have a
Mm.
website, so you can check us out there. Lots of things are happening out here, and it's beautiful and calm.
It is. It is. I have been going out to your beautiful, amazing, it's more than a property, it's like a portal
Yeah. Well, yeah,
for
it is.
about a year now. All
Yeah.
feels like I've known you forever. Um, yes. So I'm happy to share, not to keep you all to myself. So today's
Well,
podcast, we're going to talk about your journey of courage and transformation and how you are now not just rising alone, but I love your motto, when we rise, or together we rise. What is it? Did
we
I say
rise
it wrong?
together. Yeah. When
We rise
we rise
together.
together. Yeah. Um,
Yes, so we
it's
rise together. Mm.
yeah, which is taken from Spirit Rise, because Spirit Rise to me is the spirit is about everything. We all have spirit, and um, the more that we come together, the more that we collaborate and that we share and we build and support, the spirit just builds, exponentially. So
Mm.
that's why we say that here.
Yeah.
So we have
Yes.
35 acres out here at Spirit
Mm.
Rise. And I know you've been through the forest, so about half and half, about half of it is forest with some beautiful wide tracks. It's a very calm forest, and it's a very old forest too. And if you listen close enough, you can sometimes hear the trees whispering. And I don't just mean the wind whistling through there. Sometimes it's like the trees are talking. So it's pretty
Mm.
magical out in the forest. And the tracks are all lovely and wide and clear. So you can go for a walk. We have some trees that are down and some spaces there, some platforms that you can go and sit on and meditate or just
Mm.
tune into the forest, listen to the birds. There's always wallabies hopping around. Hopefully, my dog doesn't follow you into the forest and bound through like a goat. And you'll be able to see him. He's a big white Maremma dog, but very, very loving dog. We try to keep him out of the forest. But yeah, the forest is a really special place, and it just lends
It
itself
is.
nicely to everything else that we're doing out here.
Mm. Mm.
Because
Yeah.
spirit rise, there's spirit everywhere out here.
There is. And
Mm.
if you haven't been out there and you live in Tasmania, it's not far from Launceston. So go and visit, and Kim will welcome you. She's a hostess with the mostess, supported by a beautiful partner, Klaus. And
Yes.
yes, it is a joy to visit you there. But before we talk more about Spirit Rise, I want
Mm.
to introduce the amazing you, Kim Phillips. And you are Oh, you're like a magical being. You have done so many things. Let me list some of them. You've
Okay.
worked in retail, beauty, banking, media, and events. I think you have worked in some remote or more regional areas, haven't you? And
Mm-hmm.
you're an identical twin, Mm-hmm.
Yes.
An
That's pretty
astral
special.
traveler.
Oh, yes.
You're
I've been lots of
magical.
places. Yes. I've been
Yeah.
flying my whole life.
Yeah, so I'd
That's
love
which
to talk to you about that.
I
Mm.
reckon that's and it's funny because here I am sitting talking live that and who knows who else is listening in or who will listen to this later on, but I would never talk about this. And I think a lot of people are like this. We kind
Mm.
of, if you're not brought up talking about these sort of things, as in, spiritual aspects or even within religion, if you don't talk about it as a child, you, you kind of learn that that must be out of bounds. So your own
Mm.
intuition says, keep quiet. And so I never told anybody except my twin because she would fly too. And she would be with me a lot of the times. So
Mm.
um, we can go into that now or a bit
Oh,
later.
yeah,
I would
tell me
love to.
more.
Okay,
Mm.
so from the age of about, I remember as little as I was, um, being a twin and being an identical twin, we didn't have to use words to communicate with each other. So I was the firstborn, and 20 minutes later, Diane was born. And so as we grew and being identical, so I have a cowlick on this side, she has one this side. I have a dimple this side, she has one this side. So we are actually called mirror identical,
Mm.
right down to even internally behind one eye, I have a little growth thing happening and she has it on the opposite eye. So because I guess we are the same person, but two people, we didn't have to really talk. We just knew. So as young children, babies, even if one got hurt, the other would cry. Even if I was at one end of the house and she would be at the other end with my father or whichever parent was had each of us, if one of us got hurt, the other would always acknowledge it straight away as well. So if I banged my head, Diane would start roaring at the other end of the house, holding her head,
Mm.
which was pretty crazy because it'd be like, well, what's happened? The child's just been sitting here playing and now she's screaming. Uh, I remember being very unwell one time and going to hospital. And I was very unwell, but I didn't think I was really that unwell. But my twin was the one that was suffering most of the pain. So that's been the thing with us. She suffers more pain, but I kind of
Mm.
have the illness. So that's an interesting concept. Um,
Yeah.
and then as we, got to be about 4 or 5 years old, we went off to kinder and Di would be sort of standing behind me a lot because I was the more forward twin. And so even when we got into into preppies at school, back in those days we had a little blackboard. We had blackboard and chalk back in those days. It wasn't quite the
Yes, so
dinosaur
did
days,
I.
but yeah, we had the blackboard and the chalk.
Mm.
And we were
Mm.
learning to do letters, and she wouldn't learn and she wouldn't speak because, again, she and I used to connect and commune internally ourselves just with looking at each other, just knowing. And I seriously would have conversations with her, but there were
Mm.
no words spoken. So the teachers decided that that wasn't very good. So the following year, they separated us, and then she sort of had to learn, then she had to speak up. The following year after that, they put us back together, and then she internalized again, went back in, and then they decided, no, we need to separate these two because they're too close. So that was
Mm.
interesting. And
Was
then
that
in
hard
regards, yes,
to be
because
separated?
yes,
Mm.
because we would cry for each other
Mm.
because and even to this day, and we're now mid 60s almost, and we still look for each other. We still know that the separation is difficult. It's just, I know people say that their sister is close or they're very close to somebody else, but this is I honestly think it's a very different thing because
Mm.
we're only just one egg that split. Like the way that we
Yeah.
were conceived, it wasn't two, there was not two placentas, there wasn't two sacs, we were just one umbilical cord, and then right at the very base, apparently about an inch and a half up, another little one came off the side, like a little sapling.
Mm.
So we're very we're unique in that aspect. So yeah,
Yeah.
when something happens to one, the other feels, and
Mm.
and it's happened all through life, all through our life. We've been very much affected by each other's life and
Yeah.
things that have happened to each other. And when we were little girls, we'd be playing outside, and we were just my mum had four little girls within 2 years. So she had her first baby, and then 13 months later, she had twins, and then 11 months later, she had another little girl. So that was
Wow.
four little ones. So we grew up just thinking that we were all the same age, basically, because there were four of us always. So as we were outside
Mm.
playing together, um, I would often sit down and I would go flying. And so to me, I thought that's what everybody does. But what I would actually do, and I didn't realize this until one time when I was sitting, so I would sit down and I would go into myself and then I would just take off. In my dreams at night, I always was away flying places, but in the daytime, I could do it too. And I realized not until I was in my teens, but I remembered back to being a little girl at 5 and sitting there, and often I would think that I'm away, but all of a sudden I'd wake up, I'd get a shock, and it'd be my mum tapping me or one of the sisters pushing me to say, "What are you doing?" But that's what I would do.
Mhm.
And I would go
So come
off.
back.
Off I'd go.
Come.
And then suddenly I'd
Yeah.
get pulled back. But I didn't
Mm.
understand that. So, yeah. And I never spoke about it. Diane and I used to talk about it ourselves, but we never
Mm.
spoke about it to anybody else because it seemed like nobody else was doing it or no one else was talking about it. So we
Yeah.
just didn't do that. And I guess I was probably in my 40s before I ever heard someone else say that, oh, yeah, I've been an astral flyer for a long time. And I was like, what? Don't tell me there's somebody else that does this. And there it is.
Mm.
It's a thing. So all you astral people out there, maybe we should form a little Facebook club and talk about all our places that we've been to and the things that we've seen and done. So,
Yes.
yeah, the flyers.
Yeah.
The
And so do you
flyers.
still do it now, or
Oh,
is that
yes.
still
Yeah,
part of
yeah.
your life?
No, no, no,
Mm.
no. Yeah, it's still part of my life. It's not every
Mm.
night, but mostly
Mm.
at night time. Yeah, I will go places and I go far away
Mm.
or I go off up into the stars. Like it's
Mm.
so because it would be like that, nobody would have believed me if I had said that, but people do that. So
Yeah.
it's magic to know that you can go. You just go and
Yeah.
nothing can hold you back. You just
Mm.
go. And then
Yeah.
I don't even know how I come back, but I do, obviously.
But they say
So
we've all got a silver cord connecting our
us.
ethereal bodies to our
Mm.
physical bodies. Yeah.
I remember in one of my pregnancies, so I had four children and four cesareans. And so one of them, I think it was the second one, they just put me out to it. They were go to sleep ones. And I remember watching them. Suddenly there was a bit of a fiasco. There was not, I had a bleed or something, and I was above that bed that day, and I was watching
Mm.
what they were doing, and I could see them all running around and quick get some more blood, and I was watching with fascination, and then I just kind of must have gone back into the body, and then when I woke up properly, and I said to the nurses what was going on, and I said the doctor's name. Oh, I saw that he seemed to be a bit flustery and you were giving me lots of blood. What happened? And she looked at me astounded and said, how do you know that? And I said, because I watched you. She said, how did you watch us? You were out. And I said, no, I was up above the bed. And she said, oh,
Mm.
so
That
maybe
would have
that's that
been
thing
a
too,
surprise to her.
that you
Yeah.
can go out and watch and see things. I'm
Mm.
sure other people have had that experience.
Well,
I can't
I've
just be the one.
listened to other stories. I've never had that experience, but I have definitely heard many people talk about that. It's almost like, well, not quite, but like the near-death experiences, when
Yeah,
they are being resuscitated and they're above their body in the hospital watching. Yeah.
yeah. So,
Mm.
so that sort of stuff's not unusual to me, I think. And
Mm.
Um, you know, I just never talked about it. I guess I was just a little afraid, and then life went
Mm.
on. Um, so yeah, I like to think that I've had many lives. So I often
Yeah.
say, in a previous life, I did this and I did that. Hence I've been the beautician, and I did a lot of work with children as an integration aide when my children were little. But that was when, I'm not sure what they call them now, assistants of some kind. But when integration aides first came on the scene, I was one of the first in Victoria. And
Mm.
there wasn't a whole lot known about it, but we just worked with the kids that were special needs and or had learning difficulties, and I loved it. I thought it was a magical thing to do because I love the
Mm.
kids. So I did that for a long time, and then I was in doing part-time retail, and then I got into a bank. I did a beauty. I work with natural products, doing makeup and photography and lots of things with Nutrimetics when Nutrimetics first started in Australia back in the day. And I was very successful in that, but I didn't know what I was doing. Let me tell you that straight. I just loved the color, and I loved the fact that you could, make things look pretty with color. And so I had a natural ability there. I know that now. And I did extremely well with that. So I had a big team, and I was living in a town of 4,000 people, and um, becoming number one and number two in the country at one point. I still have the certificates to say I was the number one sales girl in a town of
What an
4,000 people.
achievement.
And
How
so
old were you when you did that?
I was 26. Yeah,
Mm.
I was 26.
Mm.
And I had my three children at that point. And, just being a little mum and the kids and part-time work here and there and doing some little workshops, as I called them, all the way back then. I didn't do parties. No, I don't do parties. Of course, I was doing
Mm.
parties, but I used to think I wasn't doing parties. I don't want to be the like the Tupperware lady. But I did really well with that, and I grew the team. So I guess that was the start of my learning about groups, and
Mm.
together we do things better.
Yeah.
So that was yeah, that gave me some international trips. I'd never been out of the country. I'd never been on an aeroplane before. I'd never been anywhere. And I got to go to San Francisco and Hawaii.
Mm.
Hawaii? What? Me? I'm with my bathers from Target? I'm in Hawaii.
Mm. How
That
fancy.
was, I know. It was like I didn't know
Mm.
anyone on the plane. I didn't know anybody this was a seminar, a 7-day seminar. I didn't know anybody else in the business. But there I was on a plane with my Target
Mm.
bathers and my new red nails and
Mm.
all these people, all these fabulous people that I thought were fabulous, and
Yeah.
learning that, if you want to be something or you want something, you've got to step into the rooms with those people. You've got to be around those people, even if you don't know everything. But just by sheer
Mm.
association, you start to pick up things, you start to learn. And yeah, I look back at that now and think, I didn't know anything about anything much. I wasn't allowed to continue school, so my father pulled me out of school the minute I turned 15. So I actually turned 15 as Form 3 finished. I didn't get to go back to do Form 4. And my father
Mm.
was a policeman, and he decided back in the day that, well, you don't educate the girls because they just get married and have babies. So we'll send them off to work, and they can give us half their pay, and we'll buy houses, and we'll do what the Italians do. We bring all the
Mm.
family together. Well, it sounds good in theory, but it didn't quite work that way. So for me, I also felt like, because of that, I always felt like I was dumb, that I didn't get to
Mm.
go and do schooling. I didn't have an opportunity to further educate. And so getting involved in the Nutrimetics made me feel good because I was around people who were doing things and were quite successful. And I was being successful, even though I hadn't been fully trained. So what I learnt from that was that you don't have to have all the schooling. You don't have
Mm.
to go on and got that degree. You can still do things. It's just that you need to step out and step in. So I did that for a number of years. And then
Mm.
I moved on, and so I was in the bank. Yeah, I went and got into the bank, and then I worked in the bank for about 7 or 8 years, I believe it was. And again, starting as a teller. And I guess this retail thing was a big thing in my world because in the bank, I didn't like the fact it was so quiet. So um, as I climbed the ladder a little bit, I was able to convince the manager that we should have some music or some radio or something in the bank so that it made us feel a little bit more comfortable being a customer in there. So they did that. And then I also implemented some um, to excite the tellers more to offer more to the customers, some little we called them a passport to pleasure. So if they did X amount and they got people in the bank to visit the finance guys and work out their own affairs and basically do an audit on their accounts. It wasn't anything bad. It was just getting the outside clients to come in and possibly have a word about what they're doing and maybe how we can build better things and their financials can grow better. And that
Mm.
then pushed me, or got me into another role within the bank, which was when the plastic card was first introduced. So I was then able to go off and be a teacher. So I went to Melbourne for 6 months, but I came home on the weekends. So my children were being looked after by the grandma after school until my husband got home, and then on the weekends they'd come down. So that was fun. I got to go to Melbourne, and again, I'm in a place and a space that I thought, ooh, only the very clever people get to do this, but I got to
Mm.
do it.
What a
So then,
journey. Yeah.
yeah. So when I came back from that, I decided
Mm.
the branch wasn't enough. I wanted more excitement. So then I went and got into radio. And again, I
Mm.
thought, I don't have any degrees. I don't have anything to show that I'm a very super, super clever girl. But I do know how to walk into a room because I'd been practicing that. And so I got the job in the radio station. And that was again another step into promotions and events and going into places and spaces that I traditionally I wouldn't have been able to go into. And so that
Mm.
led me from TV, radio to TV and back. And it was a great job for 20 years. That also
Yeah.
shows you a lot of other businesses. So working with all types of business gives you a great insight into how those businesses are run. And the fact that I was able to encourage them to, you know, make some strategies and put some action plans in place to help promote the
Yeah.
businesses using my creativity as
Amazing.
well. Yeah,
Mm.
it was great
I can
fun. It was
see
a,
how, yeah, I
yeah,
can see how all those skills you're using now. Isn't it interesting
yeah,
when you look back in life and
yeah,
see all the things that happened and where it led you? And,
yeah.
and
And
when
even
if
those
you'd
bad
asked
things
your,
that, yeah,
yes, that's
even
right.
the
And
bad
if you'd
things
asked
that,
your key, the bad things that happened, yeah, I was going to ask you, were there some, I know that you've had a bit
oh
of
yeah, it's been
trauma in
varied.
your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
The usual things that happen. I guess
Mm.
I had a girlfriend that used to say, wow, Kim, you have led a really controversial life. I didn't really understand what she meant by that. But now I look
Mm.
back at it and go, mm-hmm. Yeah, there were
Mm.
things there that happened that most people don't experience. Um, and, but then again, I don't, well, do I really know that? Because, there could be people listening to this or that come in and listen to this and will relate to some of the things that I say. So I guess one of the worst things, I had the usual things. I did have divorce. Um, there was some big illness. There were the ups and downs that you have with generally with parents and all sorts of things. But I guess the biggest one was when my husband died. I was 46 and life was going along.
Mm.
There had been some domestic violence as well in there, and which is a whole other envelope to open. And that is something that I focus on, or I'm really, really wanting to address here at Spirit Rise on a level. Not that Spirit
Mm.
Rise is all about this, but on a level, and be involved with the groups, the various groups, and the organisations that are there for the domestic violence women, because I have been there and been there in a big way, all through the courts, and then eventually my husband died, and he died in the worst way. He was murdered by two random men that he didn't know, and he'd been away for 6 months out of Australia. He worked for the oil fields, and then when he came back, he'd come back to where we were living at that point in Albury, and he didn't know anyone in the town. He hadn't been anywhere, but this particular night we both were going to go out to a hotel after having dinner with my children, and the new grandbaby, and but I had the flu, and so I didn't go in the end. I said, "Look, I don't want to go," and then he said, "I'll stay home," and I said, "No, you go." He was a very social man and a very funny man, so he had a lot of charisma, and so he went. And he just didn't come home. And so,
Mm.
terrible, terrible time of life. It's something that you never ever think will happen to you. Um, it blew my world apart for at least 5 years, because you don't just lose the person. For me, I lost my job. I just lost everything. It was a huge, huge thing. And as I talk today about what we're going to be doing at Spirit Rise, one of the things that's come out of that for me, and it's now 16 years later, but it still
Mm.
feels like last week, if I go there, because that's just, there's so much in it. When that sort of thing happens, there's a whole lot and a big, big, big ripple. But because of that, that's what galvanized me some 10 years later. So, no, not even that, 13 years, 3 years ago, I finally started some healing in that field of grief and
Mm.
loss. And because I'd had a few mental health issues that started to appear in the aftermath of all of that, yeah,
Mm.
it was a lot. It was huge. And
That is huge.
yeah,
I can only imagine. The whole
there's
world
a,
would have been ripped apart.
absolutely. And the thing with loss of anybody, I think, um, whether you know there's an illness or not, or a car accident, or, it doesn't matter the loss, but it's the aftermath where once it all kind of settles, you become forgotten.
Mm.
Everyone else goes on with their life, but you're stuck in a space where, what do you do? What do I do? And I can't just finalize this or finish it so that I could go into some grieving. It just wasn't available to me at that point because of the way this all happened. So yeah,
Mm.
it's a huge story. And um, next year, so I'm chopping and changing here, but I
Mm.
myself now have got to the point where I've done a lot of healing, a lot of work on learning about me and the parts of me, about how to let go of the traumas, how to, bring yourself back to yourself, and to
Mm.
work through. So, as much as I thought I was the strong girl and I tried to hold everything, and I did it for a very long time until it did get to the point where I cracked and fell off the perch, which again was another sudden, oh no, what do I do now? So, I
Mm.
have done a lot of therapy and a lot of learning, and now study, because the programs that I did to bring me to Spirit Rise, I will now be offering next year through Spirit Rise and through a lot of
Mm.
programs that we'll run with. So yeah, a lot of this stuff will come out as we go forward. But yeah, that was a
Yeah.
really big, big thing. Didn't just affect me; it affected my twin, of course, Di, and she still has the days and the times and the nights where she's very, very much still crying, and just, it's still there. It sits in her. I've done the work. I've done a lot of work, but I can
Mm.
understand that she needs the same work, and hopefully I'll be able to help her with that as I roll
Yeah.
through into, yeah, facilitating these programs, which really
Yeah.
helped me
Tell me
immensely.
more
Yeah.
about what helped you and how
Um,
you're now going to bring that
yeah. So
into
so I
Spirit Right.
I
Mm.
used to, when I first got here, and it was just after COVID it was in. So I arrived in Tasmania in 2021, and I didn't know anybody, um, but I knew, and I went to get a new job, which I was going to work in one of the radio stations, but I then decided I need to pull back on that because my partner class had become unwell as in that
Mm.
time, and then so I just was wondering, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I was following this woman online called Romy Marlowe, and I really liked what she was doing. I would watch her, and I'd been watching her since 2017. So we're now at 221, and in 222, that's when I finally reached out to her and said, I need help. Because I was watching her programs and listening to her and the reading the testimonials and all sorts of things. So I reached out to Romy, and that was the catalyst. That was the thing that cracked the dam inside of me, and boy, did it flow. Boy,
Mm.
the it's not an easy journey, to go into true healing. You go in, and seriously, if you get deep, then it all comes out, and that's what I needed, because I'd never had the support. I'd never had the time. You can't do it by yourself. I sat for 5 years after in between, like the marriage, that when he died, and my marriages, and I thought, I've done 5 years by myself. I'm healed. Pat me on the back. I'm healed. No relationships. Yeah, I'm fixed. And then the minute I got over here and things changed again, suddenly it all started to overwhelm me again. And I was like, uh-oh, I really need some help. And thank goodness
Mm.
that I did have Romy to guide me through. And yeah, 3 years and about 6 programs. And we she's been to Australia. She came to Australia in 18 months ago now, almost 18 months. And we did a little thing here at Spirit Rise, but she's been a driving force behind me, um, staying on my path to develop Spirit Rise here, to empower me, and to hold me and say, you can do this. You can do this, girl. Just follow back to the things that you've learned and listen to your intuition, because it's all inside of you. And she always would say
Mm.
goddess. So, hence we'll talk about this a bit,
Yeah,
a little bit later
hence
about the
our
goddess. But
goddess awakening.
you know, these words were all foreign to me until I, worked with Romy. Gratitude, joy, were never words that were in my vocabulary. I didn't know what that was.
Mm.
Joy, that's a song, Joy to the World. I know that. It was like, that's what I truly said. And I'm like, okay, I need to seriously look deeper into this. And I did. And I've come out this side now, and it's like, you don't have to be racing and tight and angry and fearful. And, we can move these out of our body. We can come back to ourselves. We can come back to who we're supposed to be. And that's what she taught me. And I'm so honored that I'm now able to follow on, pass those learnings on through Spirit Rise. And also, um, as of January 2026, then we will become a licensee under Spirit Rise. The Uncommon Woman Australia will be brought forth too. So
Woohoo,
it's
that's
very
exciting.
exciting, very exciting.
Yes.
So that the programs and the learnings that Romy provides, and she's a global company, international, uh, for a long time now, 15 years, I believe. And
Mm.
now we are the Australian licensees. So watch this space. There's going to be a lot of things happening out here at Spirit Rise
Mm. So
for
you've
the
got the
women.
uncommon
Yeah,
woman coming,
Australia. Yeah,
and yeah, and what
and
what
Spirit.
what was yeah? So that was like therapy and
That was,
self-development and
yes, yeah.
mm,
So the things, that happened to me, as much as there was a lot, and there's I can't remember what it's called. There's a little, like, test that you can do, and it tells you, like, all the bad things that happen in life, and it's a 1 to 10, and they kind of say,
mm,
if you've done all these, and you should be, you need some big help. And I looked at it years ago and thought, gosh, I had all those knocked over by 45 or something.
mm,
But there's a real thing in that I can look back now and go, because of all that trauma, and I didn't know how to deal with it, I just locked it in. It just was, you put the face on, you put the armor around, and you just throw it in the backpack. And you're carrying all of this extra weight with you. And let me tell you, at some point, that weight has to come off. And something that I've learned is that it's usually the women in their 50s, where they used to say, we're having a nervous breakdown. You're not having a nervous breakdown. You just can't keep carrying all that you've gathered and held anymore.
Mm.
You are
Yeah.
full to the brim. And that's what's
Mm.
making you frustrated, upset, angry, fearful, unsure, overwhelmed, all of the things. That's what
Anxious,
happens.
depressed. Yeah. It's
Anxious,
from
yep, all of
carrying
it.
it all. Mm.
Then
Mm.
all of it. And all of our body then becomes affected. So we ain't having a nervous breakdown. We need a breakthrough. That's what we need. And that is to get it off you. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I love the idea. I love it. I love it that I get to host women. I get to call the women and say, I've built this beautiful place here for you all. Come, it's safe. We have a gate. We're gated. We're double gated, actually. We're private. You can't see us off the road. We have so many spaces and beautiful Zen positions that you can get into here. Oh, it's glorious. And we're
Giant
still making
crystals.
more. We
A
have
teepee.
big crystals, the TP. We have
Mm.
a yurt that's coming in a few months. Another edition. We have our meditation pod. We have our crystal grounding garden. There's just so many spaces. A big entertainment deck with two marquees in the middle of the field where we want to do music events. And we've been doing a couple of little programs, and they go very nicely, don't they? Mel,
They
you've been
do.
to one.
They
You've been to two.
do. I've been to your
Yeah. Um,
soirees and been
yeah.
entertained by your talented
Yeah.
son and his friends
Yeah. So,
musically.
so the
Mm.
network that we have, we're kind of
Mm.
reaching out now that we've built the places, the spaces, and all the areas that we can use, it's now reaching out to others out there like yourself, Mel, and any other practitioner out there that has something that they'd like to invite people to. They need a space to do it in. Then come and check out Spirit Rise, because I can't do this all myself. I need, I need the crew. I need the circle of women around me to make this all
Mm.
happen. And that's my dream, is to
That's what
bring
I
the
love.
women. Yeah,
Yes.
bring the women, and
Mm.
let's all
I
get
love that
together,
analogy.
and we can
Mm.
teach the other women. We can bring our sisters in and bring our daughters. Love that.
Mm.
Maiden,
Mm.
mother, crone. Well, I'm the
That's
crone.
right.
I'm taking it now. I'm holding it. Here I am. I'm not a beaky
Yeah.
thing. It's not black and horrid. It's actually
Crane
who
is
we are.
wise and beautiful and majestic, just like
Yeah.
you.
Thank
And I
you.
love
Thank
how
you.
you are like, you're such a beacon for collaboration. And I think often, like the old way, the 3D world's been about competition, and especially
Competition.
among
Yeah.
women, competing,
Yeah.
where when you turn towards supporting each other, lifting each other up, collaboration, community, the love and the abundance is just like
Yeah.
poof,
And it
so much
does.
greater.
It comes in. If there's one thing so I'll
Mm.
tell you a little story about on the weekend I was in Melbourne. Wow, Melbourne was lit last weekend. So Oasis was playing on Saturday night. They had Halloween on the night before, Friday night. They were into Cup Week. So there were loads of people around, and we were there to see with my daughter Nicole and my oldest granddaughter Madeline. So we were there to see Ricky Martin. Oh, Ricky.
Mm.
So what a night it was. So just before we went to see Ricky, oh no, it was the Friday night. We were having dinner, and I said to my granddaughter, so she's been out to Spirit Rise a few times because they live in Albury, so they get on the plane and come across. She's a mad Hawk supporter. Anyway, so I said to her, Mads, I wanted to have a talk to you about some of the things that we do at Spirit Rise and why we do it. And I said, you know how we're all about women. And when you do come to Spirit Rise, you'll notice that most things at Spirit Rise are in a curved form. So we really are all about women. Women, curve.
Mm.
The
Mm.
curve of a breast, the curve of a waist, the curve of a rump. We're all about women. And I said, so the reason why that it looks like this, and it's for the women, is because as women, we need to hold each other, and we need to stand together, and we need to circle together. And when we do that, we then have the power, the combined power to do whatever it is that we want. And so I was telling her about that all of us have an innate quality within us to know things. So your intuition is a DNA built in GPS, for want of a word, inside of you. And most things in life, you know, you can look at things or you can things will come to you, but if your intuition's not working or you're not listening, you might just start going down some wrong paths, and we don't want that. So she was sort of looking at me and going, oh yeah. And I said, so one of the things that I know about myself now and that I now speak about is that I see things, and I've always seen things, and I see in full color and full video, and I'll tell you what it is and how it is. I can smell it, I can taste it, I do all of that stuff, and well before anything happens. She goes, oh wow, Nan. And so my daughter jumps in and she says, yeah, Mads, like, there's a lot of things that have happened over our lives where us, so my daughter and her brothers knew that mum knew things, because how could she know when we were doing the wrong things? How did she know that? And so she had a bit of a laugh about that. And so I said to Madeline, what I want you to do is know that, and I'm holding her hand and holding my daughter's hand, and so we are now in circle at a restaurant in table. And I said, so right now when we touch and hold each other, we we're in circle, and in circle we are never alone, we are always supported, and there is nothing that can break us or hurt us because we're in circle. And when we hold each other like this, the energy will run through us and around and up and down, and you, my girl, are an absolute light, because your light attracts so many people. We know this. And back in the old day, we would have been called witches, but we're the good witches. And she's looking at me and her eyes are bright and she's saying, oh, wow. And I said, you know, let me tell you a story about when you were a little girl. So when you were a little girl and after my husband had died, and everything was really black in my world at that point. So your mum and your father and you as a 2-year-old came to live with me. And the reason why you came to live with me was because I needed something and someone to get me out of bed in the mornings. And you were the little cherub that did that, because I had to focus on you. I had something to focus on other than all the drama that was happening to me. So you did have time with Billy before he died, and he loved you and you loved him, and you would call him Billy. And so this is I'm telling you this because you have the power in you of knowing as well. When you were 2 years old and a few weeks after he passed, we took you to the park. You were on the swing. We were pushing you. Your dad was there and I was there. Your mum was at work. And you started laughing, giggling and laughing like, and you were saying, Billy, like laughing and talking to somebody. And your dad says to you, who are you talking to? And you said, Billy, Billy's here. Look, he's laughing. So at that moment, your father nearly had a flip out, and it made me feel really warm and loving and comfortable. But
Mm,
you, Maddie, that showed me from that moment that you have it too. We all have
mm,
this, but we lose it as we grow up. So
yeah.
I just wanted to say to her and to everybody else too that when we come into circle with women, everything's left at the door or the gate. We come together and we can be who we are. And by tuning in together, we can often open up others, because we've all got this innate ability to know, and then in the knowing to action. So yeah, I
Wow.
cried, her mother cried, Maddie
Yeah.
laughed first, and then she cried. And I said, look at us all sitting in a restaurant, we're all crying,
Oh,
holding hands, but still smiling.
how
Because,
powerful. And she'll, yeah,
yeah.
she'll remember
So
that moment forever.
she will. She'll remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The
I
knowing.
wouldn't,
Do you
yeah, the
believe
knowing,
everyone has the knowing or just some people?
absolutely. No, I believe everybody has
Mm,
it.
mm, yeah.
It's just loosening all the conditioning and everything else that's been placed on you. Because, you know,
Mm,
and the other thing I believe is that, particularly the mothers, how do the mothers then, if you don't have a knowing, how do you know what your baby's wanting before your baby wants? So your baby just
mm,
looks at you and you go, oh, yes, you have a knowing. So everyone
yeah.
has a knowing in them. Even if you don't have a baby, you still have a knowing. So
That's
yeah,
such a good point. Yeah. We
How do you
often say
know?
it's just a mother's extra sense. But yeah, I do believe more of that knowing is switching on in people and we're valuing it more, that intuition, that extrasensory, multi-dimensional awareness.
Yeah.
Mm,
And I think that we've been locked into, we don't talk about it because what will people think if I say that?
yeah.
That's that conditioning that's
Mm,
been placed. You can't say that. Somebody will think you're
no.
weird. Well, guess what? I'm weird. Hand up. I'm
So am
weird.
I.
I'm
Look, that's
weird.
why I started this podcast, so all the weird people could
Yeah.
connect.
Come on in, weirdies. There's lots of fun in the weird world.
That's right. I
So,
think it's
yeah.
much more interesting than the normal world of
Mm,
muggles. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so can we talk your connection with the goddess energy? Well, you are a goddess.
Yes. The goddess energy is something very special. And again, we've all us women, we've all got it within us. She's in there. You're born with
Mm-hmm.
that. She just,
Mm,
if you haven't already established that she's there, or you haven't met her, you're wondering where she is. It could be that she's just sitting to the side waiting for you to say, "Hey, come forward." Because when she
mm,
arrives, when she's given full access, then you wait and see what happens to your world. It lifts, you
mm,
light, you
mm,
lift, you come out, and it's like, wow, there's opportunities. So allowing your goddess to come forward helps you with the manifesting too, helps you to achieve and to have the things that you want. You don't have to
mm,
be, you don't have to stay in places and spaces that feel foreign to you, that don't feel like you belong there. You have a goddess within you who's there to guide you. She comes forth, and she'll show you the way, but we have to allow her to be there. So, at Spirit Rise, when we talk about the women, it's all about coming forward, and don't be afraid but come into the circle, come to the events here that are based mostly, as I said, around the women. There are a lot of events that are coming up. Um, in a couple of weeks, there's the Awaken the Goddess Within that Mal and Liz will be hosting here at Spirit Rise. That's going to be epic. The things that we have
oh, I'm
planned.
so excited.
Uh,
Yes, can we share a little bit
yeah, yeah,
about what that
yeah,
is? Because
absolutely.
some people might be going, "What do you mean I've got a goddess inside me?" But it's that connection to your
It's
divine
connection to you,
feminine.
yeah, to your
Yes,
feminine.
it's like your higher self, and
Yeah,
we play with the different archetypes of the goddess to access different parts of ourselves that we might not be in touch with.
yeah.
So I'm so excited.
It
We
will
will
sound
be having
foreign to
a whole
some people,
weekend.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm,
just stay with this, and as you learn more and more about, you know, the power that you have and how to activate that, and
mm,
it's a natural thing. It's not. We don't take drugs and do all that
mm,
stuff out here. We're not about that. This is about connecting to yourself, and within the support of others. And it's amazing what can happen when you come to events. Even I remember the first time that I went into a drumming circle. Goodness me. And I didn't know that energy existed like that. So if you think that there's no such thing as energy, um, I'm I'm actually glad to say you're wrong, because it's a proven thing now. Energy and frequency, it's real. It's real. And
mm,
when you put
mm.
yourself in spaces with people, energy multiplies, and it can be very uplifting, and it can help you to shake off or break into new things too, because you'll just feel like you're part of it. That's the
Yeah.
that's the goddess within you coming forth, and there's a whole lot of different ranges. So, with what Mel and Liz have got planned, um, with the goddess archetypes. There's different ones that mean different things. There'll be different practices that they'll be doing here over that weekend. All of it's safe. You won't be hurt. You're in safety here, and
Oh
you'll be
yeah,
with
people might be a
women.
bit worried after seeing
Yeah,
Liz and I painting black. I'll tell you, it was activated charcoal, and we were just trying to activate. Sometimes you dress up or you use different props to get into an
yeah,
archetype. So we did. put some activated charcoal on and get in touch with our warrior self, you know, Athena, and the dark part of ourselves, that part that's been through trauma and pain. Because to go there, like you've spoken about, to access the trauma is where you also find strength, courage, and
Yes.
healing. So, yeah, we might have been known to be screaming in the gorge and scaring off some people. But it's not all about that. And that's
It's not
optional. There'll be a chance to also dress up and really embody, you know, your queen
the
energy,
yeah, the beauty, your natural
the
beauty.
beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And we
there'll be
love
lots
that.
of play and dance and movement, but also a chance to delve deeper into things we might want
Yeah.
to let go of that we've been carrying around, like you said, the baggage.
The baggage.
Mm,
You got the backpack. We're to
mm,
shake a bit out of that. And any
yeah,
form of movement helps you to do that. You know, um, I remember when I first started learning about all this that I was thinking, what's this about how to storing energy inside the body? Well, we're cellular. We store energy, good energy
yeah.
and bad energy. And it's the bad stuff that
Mm,
usually stays stuck and then it starts to, implement inflammation and all sorts of things that aren't good for our body. So movement is one of the greatest things that you can do to start breaking
mm.
down those pieces of stuck energy. It's just screaming is a great way. I'm sure that you've all wanted to scream at some point. I have. And
No,
I have a great
never.
I have a great forest that you can do it in too. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
The minute you
it is. It moves,
scream,
shifts energy.
yeah,
Mm,
you kind of go, "Ugh." You can
mm,
physically feel something come off you. But we don't want you
mm.
screaming just in anger and holding it. We want you to scream it out, just throw it out. And there
Yeah, it's
there is
about
absolutely a
releasing.
benefit to doing that sort of stuff.
Mm,
But it's
mm.
not all about that. There'll be lots of
No,
play and sitting
food.
together, food. Oh yeah, so we've got Chef Chris. He'll be putting forward a beautiful, beautiful menu of a lot of vegan and raw product, but it's tasty as. So
Mm.
I can't even say what the influence is, but the influence is probably um, all the nicest foods that we can put together. And being a
Ah,
chef,
high
you know,
vibration
hot.
food, delicious food.
Yes, delicious. There
Mm,
will also be meats and things like that,
good.
but there'll also
Yeah.
be lots of the natural infused with herbs and all sorts of bits and bobs that he
Mm.
does.
It's going
That
to be
looks
a
delicious.
banquet, a feast for
Yes.
goddesses.
Feast for the goddess, yeah. So do come hungry.
Mm. Yeah.
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 What else are we doing on the day? Of course, there'll be a photo
Oh,
shoot as well.
in the forest with
So
a photographer.
yeah, so we've got a professional photographer um, that's aligned with here us at Spirit Rise. He'll be doing a lot of our things here, and you'll meet Stacey, and she is phenomenal. Um, and we wanted to get some professional work done because this retreat weekend, it's not just a little fluffy little get together. This is something that's going to be quite special. And we wanted to be able to offer you a chance to, in full glory, in full, just leave all the other stuff, leave all the bad stuff behind and come and be what you want to be. If you like to,
Mm,
you know, wear nice flowy costumes or not, you can come in a tracksuit. We don't really care. But just let your little girl come through. Let that girl in you that wants to be free and dress up and the other thing about this too is that in the forest we have some platforms and we have some special
mm,
spaces that are perfect for photography. So whether you want to dress up fully in flowy garments, whether you want to, you can wear a Viking, you can be anything you want to on this particular night, but we're going to capture it in a professional format so that you've got your own something to take with you and put
mm.
aside and say, that weekend, wow, wow,
Yeah.
because things will
Remind
happen.
you of the goddess in you and what you've shifted and
Yeah,
transformed. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. So that's November 21 to 23. And you can come Friday night for the banquet or you can come to the whole weekend. There's no accommodation there, but if you're traveling, you could stay in Grindelwald
Yeah.
or
Yeah, so
Launceston.
Grindelwald,
Yeah.
the
Mm,
resort down there has very, very affordable accommodation in their cabins, and we've aligned
mm,
with them for when we do have weekends like this. That it's terrific down there. It's 5 minutes from us. Down you go into the room. They've got a pool down there too if you want to have a swim or whatever. But it's very affordable, and it's only a little ways up the road for to come back the next day and do all these beautiful practices that we're going to be doing across the weekend.
mm. Yeah, so I'll
And
put a link for that if people want to know more. And tell
yeah.
me, what other things do you have bubbling away? I know you've got two beautiful horses there, or
Oh,
one
yes.
unicorn, should I say?
Yeah.
And
So, this is how all this stuff works out here. Like,
mm,
if you talked to me about manifesting a couple of years ago, I would have said, what are you talking about? However, I've learned that I've been manifesting my whole life because things just happen that I kind of wanted to happen. And that's another discussion. But a few weeks ago, we had some horses here on Spirit that lived here. And then their owner went to her own property, to a new property. And then the horses stayed for another 12 months. And then they only just went about 2 months ago. And I was like, we need some horses. So we threw it out into the atmosphere, into the world of manifestation, and lo and behold, a beautiful, beautiful unicorn popped up on Facebook. So his name's Shiloh, and his mum Susan from the Vortex Healing Centre down near St Mary's, down south, had put out a cry for help to find Shiloh a place that he could be happy in. And it's really interesting because what Susan done is very, very much along the lines of what we're doing here at Spirit Rise. I didn't know her, she didn't know me, and it all just fell into place. So Shiloh came to be here, and we call him Shiloh the unicorn, and he's a big, beautiful,
mm,
calm, very comforting. He looks like a Clydesdale, but he's not. And then he needed a mate, so we manifested Star, who's like our
mm.
shooting star, and so she's come here as well. So both of them are very quiet. They're going to be equine therapy horses in the new year, and another wonderful person that I met through Spirit Rise here. Kelly will be facilitating that next year once we get everything sorted for the horses. So if you're into equine therapy and you want to try that, which is beautiful if you're already doing any other therapies, the equine therapy just, takes it to the next level because the
Mm.
horses are amazing to be around. And when you come, you'll be able to come and meet them and just watch them and sit with them. They're amazing. So
They're so
equine
gentle
therapy,
already. They're already
yeah,
doing therapy. Just
yeah,
just come along and come up to the
just
fence and just
yeah,
soak in
just being in the
their beautiful
yeah, they
essence.
come up to you and they'll want to give you a hug.
Yeah.
Shiloh especially
Mm,
loves to
mm,
put his head over and he'll rest his chin on your head, or he'll put his head over your shoulder and kind of try and bring you in for a hug. He's amazing, really
mm,
amazing. And Star, she's just this, and she's so pretty. She's got these beautiful almond eyes. Like she surely is a goddess. And she'll come up
mm,
and she just wants you to touch her. She just comes in for a little.
mm.
Their
Yeah.
energy is just really, really very calming. You can feel it. You just feel it.
Mm. You
So
can.
that's
I
going to be
can.
happening.
Mm, mm. And
And
you've
and
got
then yeah.
breath work and Reiki and all sorts of
Breath
things
work,
happening.
yeah. So we have Reiki out here. We do massage. We do our circles. There's a host of different circles with a host of different practitioners that are wanting to, get you girls all together and get out here. And I would love
Mm.
to do a weekend where we call it the Circle of Circles, and we get all the different circles that are around the state together and we do some
Yeah.
big things. A number of those
Ooh.
things are on
Watch this
the
space.
pin board. Yes, watch this
Mm-hmm.
space.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we yeah, so we've got Reiki and massage and
Mm.
cards, and we've got what else are we going to be doing? I want the new numerology we're going to be doing out here. The meditations, of course. We have a big granite 8 foot hand carved granite bath that's in a little special area that we will be using for water ceremony and also for a bit of midnight. if you like, moonlight
Ah,
bathing, so magnesium bathing. Lots of
mm,
things, just lots and lots and lots of
yeah.
different things. And if you've got a
Ah,
particular
mm,
something that you want to do, then bring it, reach out, because we've got all these people that are here to offer their therapies. We just, we can pull together anything. If you've got a workplace that needs to do something special, come out to Spirit Rise and do a 4 or 5 hour out here. It's shoes off at the gate. We ground them. We It's just really special here, and I believe that if you come into a space like this and do those sort of seminars or workshops with your crew, it's so different. And because
mm,
the energy here is very different, they'll remember. So whatever you're teaching them, I'm sure it's going to stick, because they're out of the concrete office, they're out of all the noise, and they're in this beautiful calm space.
mm.
So,
Yeah,
that's something else
it
that we'll
is.
be offering. Yeah.
Mm, so much on offer.
Music, micro festivals, wellness retreats, all of it.
Mm, mm,
And also some craft workshops too, programs that we'll be
mm,
putting up very soon.
okay.
So we have lots of crystals out here, and we have 5 foot amethyst
Mm.
crystals and citrine, and we forgot about the meditation room, and we forgot about the weddings that we do. So
Yes, don't forget
we
about
might have to
those.
do a part two around the ceremony area, because that was all just about the healing field.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, part two will be all about the ceremony area.
yeah.
But if you want to find out more, they can go to
You
Spirit
can go to the
Rise. You've got a
website.
website
Yeah, there's a
now.
website there,
Mhm.
and yeah, just stand by, because there'll be a whole lot of things happening, and we'd love to see you
Mm,
all out here. It's going to be
yeah,
magic, magic, magic.
yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is magical. So before you go,
Mhm.
I know you've shared so much from your heart already, but is there anything that you particularly want people to know from your heart to theirs? Any truth or message that someone watching this
My,
might
my
want to
my
hear?
message, my message is that don't be afraid to step forward, because there's nothing. If you're in trouble, if you're not in trouble, if you need some help, if you feel like you might just want to have a chat, or you might want to come into one of the programs that we'll be running, either you can call us, you can just send a little help, you could get onto the website, but just don't be afraid to come and see what's going on out here, because there's nothing that we haven't seen or heard. There are women here that will support you, and we're all about love. Our foundation is
Mm,
love here. So
yeah,
we just want everyone to have the opportunity to step forward and come and be a part of this. This is a growing community here
mm,
now. And, when we do it together, we're better together. And it's
yeah,
easier to do it in group than it is to do it by yourself. So,
mm,
yeah,
yeah.
we're just reach out.
Mm. It's all about building community, circles of
Yep.
love and support, and that is so evident from the first
Yeah.
moment I met you and stepped onto that beautiful property. It's just a feeling of we all belong together, and how can we
Yeah.
support you, and how can we create more of a healing space to lift
Yeah.
others up. Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Mm,
healing's not just, the hard, the really deep, deep stuff. Healing is about
mm,
all aspects of it. There's joy in healing too, so, and fun. So,
mm.
yeah,
And
go read.
gratitude.
Yeah, and the gratitude. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So the signs will be up. My sign's up now
Mm,
on the gate. We have a great big eagle. You can't miss us. The purple flags will be flying when you come to visit, and yeah, we can't wait to see you all. And I can't wait to
mm.
see all the practitioners in here when we have a little festival and everyone's doing their thing and
Yes,
everyone's
yes.
wandering around
Let's have
being
a
happy
festival.
and eating. Yeah, festivals. That's on the card too.
2026 festival.
There's a lot of things
Okay.
happening. Yeah. So,
Well, I will pop all the links below so people can contact you. And we've been joined with Nicole and Liz. Say hi, beautiful women.
hi, girls.
And, and if you're watching this in the replay, please pop in a comment, because Kim and I will be here to respond to them. And I will be uploading this episode of the White Owl podcast to Spotify and YouTube. So you can subscribe to those channels, the White Owl, and listen again to this wonderful conversation with Kim. And also I've got other interviews with inspiring people who are sharing their truth. I like to say we are piercing the darkness like an owl with our truth. And it might seem a bit scary and we might think it's weird, but when we start sharing our truth, it encourages others to do so.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So amazing.
Thank you for having me.
I am so blessed to have you and honoured. Yes, and tune in for part 2 soon.